Good day, friends. Welcome to all participants in the one-day national workshop on recent trends in applied zoology. First of all, I thankful to principals of three collaborative colleges and its coordinators for giving me the opportunity to present my views about the topic of sericulture. Sericulture is an agro-based industry and the end product, which is the silk. Silk is referred as the queen of textiles or also called as fabrics and well known for its natural color, purity and unusual lusters. It is the natural fabrics, animal related and produced from the silkworms. Sericulture is a labor-intensive industry in all phases of the production of chain, that is cultivation of silkworm food plant, silkworm rearing, silkworm reeling and other post-cocoon processes such as twisting, dyeing, weaving, printing and finishing. It provides employment to approximately 60 lakhs people in India. Most of them small and marginal farmers are utilize these techniques. The present position of sericulture in India. Sericulture at present is carried out in many parts of the world. India stands fifth in the production of the silk. The other major silk producing countries in order of production are Japan, China, South Korea, USSR, Brazil, Bulgaria and Italy. India accounts for a little over 5% of total global India accounts for little 5% of the total global output of mulberry raw silk and 10% of tasar. Cultivation of sericulture is not a very widespread, being the practiced regularly in contiguous districts in a traditional states of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal and Jammu and Kashmir. In all the states of the northeastern region, in the tribal areas Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Uttaranchal and Orissa. The cocoons and the silk processing industry has traditionally existed in a clusters. India has the distinction of cultivating all four types of commercially silks, namely mulberry, tasar, eri and muga. There are different types of silk varieties found in India. There are four types of natural silk produced in India for commercial purpose. There are known as the mulberry silk, tasar silk, muga silk and eri silk. Mulberry silk feeds upon the Morus alba plants, that is called as tutti. The silkworms is known as the Bombax mori. Then tasar silkworms, that is Antheria milita. There are different species are found in the western regions as well as the Indians. Those larvae feeds upon the Terminalia arjuna, Terminalia catappa, Terminalia tomentosa, Jujuba jujuba and a number of food plants. They are found in the natural conditions. Then eri silkworms, the Phylloxera ricini. These silkworms are fed upon only castor leaves, Ricinus communis. And lastly Muga silk. Muga silkworms feeds upon som and solu plantations. Among these four kinds of silkworms, the mulberry silk contributes to 80% of the silk production produced in the country. That is why often the Indian silks are classified as mulberry and non-mulberry silkworms. The mulberry silkworm is a domesticated silkworm and non-mulberry silkworms are not domesticated, semi-domesticated. Few species are the semi-domesticated species that comprise of their three varieties. Cultivation of sericulture is not a very widespread. You see tasar silk moth. These are the wild silkworms, and they very belong to the genus Antheria. There are many varieties of silkworms such as Antheria papilla, Antheria mylitta, Antheria proili, and this is the Antheria mylitta silk moths. The Antheria mylitta silkworms are reared Terminalia arjuna in the wild natures, Terminalia tomentosa, Terminalia catappa. They are not reared in the laboratory conditions. They are very interesting of their cocoon quality. The cocoon quality is like a bell in the temples. One of the peduncle is present. It is the eggs like cocoons are present, and one of the rings they are anchoring in their twig. Next, Eri silk moth. This belongs to the Phylloxera ricini or Phylloxera cyanthea, which are closely related with each other. Phylloxera cyanthea is a wild species, but Phylloxera ricini is a domesticated species. They are reared on only castor leaves, Ricinus communis. It is found in the only Assam region. Then Muga silk moth. Muga silk, Antheria assamensis, this species known as Antheria assamensis. These silkworms are belong to the genus Antheria, but related to the tasar silkworms. The Antheria species, there are different species are found in the natures. Antheria assamensis, they feeds upon only som and solu plantations. These worms are very interesting, like that similar to the character from the tasar silkworms. They produce on the unusual, historious golden yellow silks, and golden threads are present. It is a very strong and attractive. This is another wild silk moth, the Actacelian Indian moon moth. This moth is a yellowish in colors, and it is very interesting. They are not reared in the laboratory conditions. Those are feeds. These silkworms feeds upon the Terminalia arjuna. Even this is a pest of the mangrove forest. It is a Telson-like character. The tail is a very important character from these animals. And the moon, why it is called as the moon? The moon-like characters are found in their forewings and hind wings. Hence it is called as moon moth. Next is the Attacus atlas. It is also called as Phagera silk moth. It is the largest silk moth present in the world. There is a wingspan, let us one of our size of our fingers. Those silkworms are reared on only mangrove forest, and this is a pest for the mangroves. Then I one by one tell you the silks. The first is the mulberry silk. Mulberry silk is a domesticated silk. It is the most popular and renowned varieties of the silks produced in India is the mulberry silks. The states of Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal and Jammu Kashmir are recognized as the main producers of these silks. This silk is produced by the domesticated silkworms called as Bombyx mori. Then tasar silkworms. The tasar silks alternatively spelled as tasar, tusar, tushar, or also as a kosa silk in Sanskrit. It is primarily produced in the state of West Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. In the state of Maharashtra, there are few districts: Yavatmal, Gadchiroli, Chandrapur. It is primarily produced to the states of West Bengal, Bihar, and a number of states they are reared. The oak tasar is a fine variety of tasar silks of the tasar silk that is produced in India. Tasar silk is generated from the larvae of the silkworms Antheria mylitta that live in the wild forest. Hence it is called as wild silk, or also called as one. The photographs you show the eggs of the tasar silkworms, young ones of the tasar silkworms. They are reared. The eggs, it is like that of a jawar seeds. There are two parallel rows are present on their egg characters. The larvae are not reared in the laboratory conditions. It is reared on only wild in conditions. First, when the larva is hatched or newly hatched larva comes from these cells, they feeds upon the egg cell first, then transfer the eggs larvae on the tender leaves of the mulberry. Not only mulberry, but it is also anchoring of the crawling of the Terminalia catapa, Terminalia arjuna leaves, even Terminalia tomentosa leaves. Those larvae feeds upon voraciously on this feeder, and those larvae, their lifespan, after development, after newly hatched larvae, they feeds upon the tender leaves. Their lifespan is 3 to 4 days. Then day by day they go to the molting and they are developed their feeding characters. And total 28 days, their totally larval life are completed, and then goes to the cocoon formation, and cocoons are prepared, and then after the cocoon formation, the pupa goes to the 10 days of the incubation period, and the moth is emerged. The tasar silk stands outgrowth with the rich texture and deep golden sheen, and saris made from these silks and are most famous produced through its more used to generate fabrics and finishing dupattas and dresses. Tasar silk sarees produced in West Bengal have a typical papery effect. Bhagalpur and Kosa silks are two kinds of well-known sarees made from the tasar silk. Then found in the Eri silks. Eri silks in Assam takes place. It is a pride. It is one of the pride in their state. The Eri silks and Muga silks. Those silks are not reared in the northeast, other than northeast India. They only reared in the northeast India regions. But presently, number of states they are reared in the Eri silk, like that Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, even Maharashtra. Few parts in Maharashtra they are reared. But in the practice, they are not on large scales in production. Assam takes a pride in fact that it produces three types of different silks. Eri silks, also known as Erendi silks or Erendi silks, is one of the such variety of the silks. It processed from the open end cocoons of the domesticated silkworms known as Samia racini and Phylloxera racini, which is native to Assam. They are found in the Assam regions. Since the silks is obtained without killing the silkworms, the other silkworms like that of Mulberry silkworm, tasar silkworms, even Muga silkworms, when you prepare, you kill the pupa and you utilize the silk threads. But in this Eri silks, they are not killing the silkworms. Without killing worms or pupa, you can rear the threads. It is also referred as Assama silk, or also called as a peace silk. Why it is called as peace silk? This is one of the reasons that the Buddhist monks of the India, China, Nepal, they are prefer this silk is a non-violent origin. Next, it is larva of the Eri silkworms. There are a number of figures you can observe in the screen. The mass rearing of the Eri silkworms. There are different types of genera of the silkworms. Their reeling of the silkworms, cocoons of the silkworms, and adult mating of the male and females. They are one of the photographs. They are not these original photographs of my research. The Eri silkworms are not reared in the Maharashtra, but I have practiced. Eri silkworms are reared in Maharashtra condition, and those larvae in Assam region they reared. Their life cycle of the rearings at 24 to 26 days, but in Maharashtra, in western Maharashtra, they are only 14 to 16 days. Their larval periods are completed. Next, the Eri silk is a peaceful silk in Assam. Why it is called as a peaceful? The cultivation and weaving of the wild silks are rooted in the life and culture of the people of northeast India, especially in the state of Assam in India. From the various types of silk of Assam, the rather unknown Eri silk is particularly fascinating as it's processed without killing the silkworm. It is also called as Jain silks. Jainism, ज्याला अहिंसा आपण म्हणतो, the animal, those are not killing the worms. The ahimsa is Gandhiji's statement. The ahimsa silks. It is intricately the Eri silkworm spins short segments of filaments and creates a cocoon that is open at one end and enabling the moth is emerged. One side they are open and the other side they are closed. It is one of the opening of the one of the anterior regions. This peace silk is therefore a very popular fibers among the vegans and the Buddhists. Eri silk is a distinctly by its typical dense and coarse texture, matte appearance and dull golden yellow scenes. It is not expensive as the other categories of the silks produced, so it is known as poor person of the silks. In the Assam, number of small scale sectors they are reared in this Eri silkworms, and those pupas are useful for the food purpose. In the Assam, I observed all the things in the Assam regions. When your dishes they are give for your feeding purpose, they are Eri pupas for the feeding purpose. Next, Muga silk. They are one of the pride of the Assam. They are not reared in the other part of in India. It is an exclusive specialty of the Assam. The Muga silk is one of the rarest silk produced in the world. It is known for the summarizing glossy structure and extreme durability. The silkworms are fed upon the Sol and Somu plantation found in the Assam regions. This silk is produced by the larva silkworms known as Assam silk moth, that is Antheria assamensis. The image you show, you observe that there are Muga silk eggs. I can rear these silkworms in my laboratory conditions. They without not only Assam regions, they are in Maharashtra region in Kolhapur districts. The Muga silkworms, it is cultivated on the Chinamonan food plants. They are one of the new species. I produce from this Muga silkworms. Those are a new food for the Antheria assamensis. Those larvae are reared in my laboratory condition within 28 to 29 days. They are completed their life cycle. Therefore, in the 1 number figures, there are eggs of the like that of tasar's eggs. The larvae differ from their other characteristics. It is a greenish in colors, but their tubercle structures are different from the tasar silkworms. When I visit the Assam, there are scientists are visited. They have told me how to rear the silkworms, what is their food plants, and those technology I given my memory and I reared these silkworms in my laboratory conditions. One of the right figures, one of the workers, how they spread the 5th instar larva on the spread on the plantation of the Som plantations. The larva are spread on these plants for their next generations. And one of the another information, they are called as seed germination centers, where the cocoons are collected from the natural conditions. They are stored in the tire system in the rooms, and when moths are emerged, they are nylon net covered with their cocoons. When the moths are emerged, they are mated in the natural conditions, and after mating, the moths are controlling their cage and they are produce their eggs, and those eggs are collected, and after young ones are developed, then 1 to 3 stages they are reared in the laboratory condition. After third stages, the larvae are spread on their plants and outdoor rearing. The semi domesticated species, the first three stages are reared in the laboratory condition, and other 2 stages are reared in the other sites. Those are produced, silk cocoons are produced in the other sites. When the loss of the cocoons in the natural conditions, the number of predators are available. They are feeds upon the silkworms, the like of birds, reptiles, even ants, parasites. Number of parasites are developed. They are available in the nature. They are damage their silkworms, and the loss of the production. Here the less amount of literatures are available in the Muga silks. Then, why the Assam region? Sericulture is an ancient industry in Assam that doesn't really have a time frame known as existence begin the time. The first achieve of the Muga silk production coming into the spotlight was during the Ahom region, Ahom kings. It was during this period the Muga culture thrived and became an integral part of the social and economic lives of the locals. Ahom kings were known to don only Muga silks. The fabrics was stocked in the kingdom as well as presented to the visitors of their court is one of the finest local offsprings. When in the Assam, those silkworms are rare, then the number of natural obstacles are present. When there are 2 or 3 crops are given from the farmers, bivoltine as well as monovoltine, the 2 crops are given in the Assam regions. Not only multi-voltine crops are present. Hence, it is a very interesting silkworms, like that of tasar silkworms. Hence, I reared in this laboratory conditions. Muga silk is considered to be among the strongest natural fibers and has a distinct natural yellowish golden tint. One of the most expensive varieties of the silk produced in the world, Muga silk is used to make mekha chadar, saris, kurtas, and etc. Number of cloth particles are developed in the nature. Muga silks remain much coveted item for every Assamese woman. One of their festivals, there is Bigu festival. The number of women are reared their saris for only Muga silk, and it is very attractive. Those silks are very attractive silk in Assam. In the Bigu festival, I observed that it is a very life attractive in the Assam. It is a natural beauty. The traditional muffets and internet patterns build on the silk fabric to the beauty and demands. The unconscious of the fabric lies, and in fact that it is increased in lusters with the age and after every wash. Muga silks, also known as longevity. It is often remarked that the Muga silk fabric lives longer than its weaver. Then I some of the rare other animals, insects that are Actescilian moon moth. It is also called as the Indian moon moth. Those eggs are very small in size, but I collected these cocoons from the Western Ghat regions in mangrove forest. I when I observed this region, the cocoons are collected, and after collected the cocoons, the male and female moths are emerged in my laboratory conditions. And after moths are emerged, after mating, the eggs are collected and after 10 days of the incubations, the youngers larvae are developed and their food plants are not said my regions. There are new food plants are given. They are called as Terminale Arjuna, and those silks are reared in the 28 days. They complete their life cycle, rearing cycle. The first to last instar, they are reared in the 28 days. After 28 days, it's the light of mulberry silkworms, and the pupas are cocoons are developed. And after 10 days of incubation cocoons, the moth are emerged. That is a yellowish, a parrot color like structures, and a very attractive moths are developed. It is called as Indian moon moth. Next, another silk moths I reared, that is called as Attacus atlas silk moth. It is a giant silk moth. They are not reared in the laboratory conditions. When I visited the mangrove forest, I collected their cocoons. It is a pest for the mangrove forest, and cocoons are collected. And the cocoons, when cocoons are reared in the laboratory conditions, the moths are emerged. After moths are emerged, after mating, the eggs are collected from this, and after incubation, 10 days of incubation, the newly hatched larva is developed. And those are very interesting and very attractive silkworms in the nature. They are one of the natural mimicry and very dangerous silkworms. Morphologically, they are dangerous. Since and after first to sixth instar, the other five silkworms like the mulberry silkworm, tasar silkworm, Iri silkworm, Muga silkworms, even Actescilian silkworms. The 5 silkworms, there are 5 stages of the silkworms, but in the Attacus atta there are 6 silkworms are present. There are 6 stages are seen in my laboratory conditions. Now after the 6 cocoons, after 6 the silkworms, they are going to ripening silkworms. The cocoons are developed. They are in the figures. You can show these cocoons. They are prepared in my laboratory conditions. And lastly, in the cage, the moths are emerged, and those silk moths are developed in the nature. It is a natural beauty in the nature. I thankful. I thankful to the organizing secretaries, Dr. Rajan sir, Dr. Maske sir, give me the opportunity to express my views. Thank you. Thank you.